Would I rather have my guy who I know really well, who I have a lot of love for and I trust and respect and like I want to do right by him? Would I rather him be crushed and disappointed or some random person that I don't know? Okay, that's human nature. That is literally the crux of human nature right there. I mean, I didn't mean to get like, super philosophical on you guys in this video, but that is like the beauty and the destruction of the human race right there. Chris Curtis, this is actually really Chris Curtis. So Chris Curtis from Extreme Couture said, most definitely true. What an right? And Conor responded. So as expected, drama surrounding Conor at The Ultimate Fighter happened immediately. And the main thing that has happened thus far is there's the rumor going around that Conor was directly responsible for these guys who had already been cast on the show getting removed because he wanted to bring his guys in. I'll talk about that in a second because I have insider, I ran the story, the other day where I basically started talking about this before the news kind of hit the main media. But I didn't know that it was, or I hadn't heard that it was Conor who was responsible for it. But what's interesting now to discuss is that Conor's actually responded to the accusation that he was responsible for it. And as much as I care about the feelings, career, and life of, these guys who thought they were on Ultimate Fighter and then they found out that they weren't. I mean, obviously, I'm very empathetic to that. But let's be honest. When it comes to the Ultimate Fighter, who are we really looking at, right? I'm curious about Conor. Like, I want to know which Conor is at the Ultimate Fighter because bottom line, if you get old school Conor, you're going to get a very, very interesting, dynamic. If you have new Conor, you have no idea what that actually means. And I would be much more interested in old Conor because I was always very, very inspired by his approach. And this response that he put out publicly, very much in my opinion, favors that you're looking at an older version, more focused version of Conor. And so I want to talk about his response and talk about this entire situation and then talk about why I think it matters that he responded the way that he did. So let's jump right into it. I've been trying not to put any ads in my videos this last week or so, give you guys a break from all that. But if you don't mind, subscribe to the channel if you're going to watch my content. That's the only thing I ask. If you watch my videos, just subscribe to the channel and we'll handshake on it. I'm doing my side. I make the videos. All you have to do is click subscribe and we will be good to go. So spoiler, Conor is saying directly that it was not him that was responsible for getting these guys kicked off. Now, I'll get into that in a second. I will say this though. So I spoke to my source more about the situation and it's sad, man. Like there's just no other way to talk about it. Like I kind of heard about it, did the video very quickly because I wanted to get that out because I figured that it was going to get out, and you get out in front of a story and, it's better for the channel. But now I've actually kind of gotten into the weeds on this thing and I don't know, man. I'm not blaming anyone, honestly, because when you have Conor involved, ultimately this is a business, dude. The Ultimate Fighter is business. Having Conor on the show is one of the most incredible opportunities that you're ever going to have as an organization at this stage of his career. To have him doing Ultimate Fighter is incredible. And so even if Conor did kick some guys off to bring on guys of his own, which he's saying that he didn't do anyway, but even if he did, who are you going to throw a rock at? Honestly. Like, who are you going to say, like, wow, you did the wrong thing here? It's like bad things happen in the world. Some people get lucky, some people get unlucky. People thought they got really lucky and it turned out that they didn't. And I'm sure that was soul crushing. But candidly, I don't really know who you would blame for that. But the details of how this happened are super messed up, dude. Like these guys, I've now validated 100%. These guys got casted. They got given all their Ultimate Fighter gear. Okay, so think about, you guys have all seen Ultimate Fighter. Like they had their uniforms, they had Ultimate Fighter bags, they had their pants, they had all the Ultimate Fighter stuff. Like they're on the show, dude. Like they're on the show. And I also didn't realize, when I said chaos on day one of Ultimate Fighter, I didn't realize they were already filming. I found that out later in the day. That they were actually actively filming. I found that out 2 hours after I filmed it. So we're not talking about these guys thought they were in and then found out that they weren't a couple weeks before. It was it's literally the day they're supposed to start filming. They're like, listen, man, bad news. You got to go. And they just kicked him out. Of course they kicked him out. What else are they going to do? So anyway, so obviously the story went around that it was Conor making room for his guys. And Conor is saying that is not true. And, listen, I've gone through things like this before. Okay. Lots of things like this before, actually. And what I mean by things like this is where you get kicked directly in the balls and you're looking to try to understand why, right? Like, why did this happen? What happened? Because the story's getting out. I can promise you guys that, well, I know certainly in my case that I found out about this because one of the fighters told my guy who's obviously, and then also I talked to someone who was actually there. So like, bottom line is you get fired from your job. You're going to be like, how did this happen? You know what I mean? Like in my case, where I got terminated from my tech role, where I was the #1 rep in the United States at the time for the year. And then it was like, wait a minute, what happened 6 weeks ago? Oh, that's right. They found out I was the only person in the building who had not taken the thing. And then weird, I was the only one on the team that got randomly selected for termination. I think I can back into why that happened. But like these guys, these guys basically, so these guys are, so what it sounds like, let me read you guys Conor's statement. So Action Man says, so the Action Man is responding on Twitter to report Conor McGregor removing TUF 31 contestants to make room for his own fighters. So Chris Curtis, this is actually really Chris Curtis. So Chris Curtis from Extreme Couture said, most definitely true. What an effing a-hole, right? And Conor responded to Chris Curtis and said, not true. I only know one guy on the show and he put himself forward for it. He is now, after today, set to fight the #1 seed. I did not ask nor request nothing. I certainly didn't have people removed. I'm just trying to get back into the mix myself. So F off. So what about that, to me, speaks to this is a good version of Conor. Because honestly, I'll be totally straight with you. The way that I evaluate what Conor we're going to get is where's his ego at, dude? Like where's Conor's ego at? Because the way that I see the world, ego is your enemy. Confidence is not ego. Confidence is not ego. It's not the same thing. They are opposites of each other. They are literally opposites of each other. If you understand them the way that I do, it's like ego goes where confidence is not, right? It's like confidence is not here. And so you replace it with ego, which appears to be confidence, but it's not that, right? It's not that. And so being humble, just think about it in training. Think about it in this exact environment, because it doesn't really matter. I mean, I could give a million examples in life, but think about it just in this example. It's like you go into training and you're like, I'm confident in this part of my game, but I'm humble. And so I'm looking for ways that I can also improve. Okay. Yeah. Constantly looking for ways to improve. And, you're taking instruction and you're drilling and whatever, like you're open to instruction and you're open to getting better. Now, I've always had a ton of respect for how Conor approaches his training as that way, right? Like I had always heard that like Conor is a complete and total student to martial arts. But when the ego gets in the way, right? When the ego gets in the way and you're not open to those things and you start telling yourself you're good enough to beat this guy without doing X, Y, Z, maybe I could just start prepping to fight Manny Pacquiao. I'll run through Dustin Poirier, right? Now that's not necessarily ego. It's also just overconfidence and ego, right? But this text or this tweet right here, the part where he says, I'm just trying to get back in the mix myself. Like that's a great line, dude. And I realize that might sound like a small thing to people, but it's not. Like it's really not. Him acknowledging I'm just trying to get back in the mix myself is saying, I've been out for 2 years. My leg has been broken. I am myself just getting acclimated. I'm not coming in here and throwing people off the show. That's not true. I didn't do that. Now, it sounds like it's possible that one guy, maybe one guy, got put on. Possible, And like, look, dude, let me just put it to you like this. Let's say that one of your training partners that you're really close with wanted to be on Ultimate Fighter and they put themselves forward for it and they didn't get picked, and you're Conor McGregor and you're super busy, right? You're not directly involved in these things every day because you're doing all kinds of different stuff, right? And then Now you're going to do Ultimate Fighter and you're kind of taking inventory of what happened. And you're like, wait, they didn't put him on? It's like, nah, man, they didn't put him on. And he makes a call. He's like, Dana, dude, why didn't you pick my guy? And Dana's like, I didn't even know he was your guy. He's like, well, he is, dude. Like, that's my guy. Why is he not on? You know, like, seriously, like, come on, dude. He's great television. He's a really great fighter. Give him a chance. Give him a chance. He's not looking for anything special, no special treatment on the show, but just give him a chance. And Dana's like, all right, you know, and so they remove a guy. Okay. Now, I don't know what happened to the other two, but just that phone call where no one did anything wrong. Conor's just hooked, like he's doing exactly what I would do. I'm just saying that is exactly what I would do. If I was Conor and I was super busy with business, I'm in Ireland, I'm doing whatever. And there's a guy in Vegas who's one of my guys. And he's like, yeah, man, I didn't make it. He's really disappointed. I'm like, let me see what I can do. I would do that. That's not being a bad guy. That's being a good guy. You know, it's like he's crushed and disappointed. My guy's crushed and disappointed that he didn't get on. Well, would I rather have my guy who I know really well, who I have a lot of love for and I trust and respect and like I want to do right by him? Would I rather him be crushed and disappointed or some random person that I don't know? Okay. That's human nature. That is literally the crux of human nature right there. I mean, I didn't mean to get like, super philosophical on you guys in this video, but that is like the beauty and the destruction of the human race right there. That, like in a microcosm, what I just described to you right there is the beauty and destruction of the human race, okay? Because we as people, if you're a good person, you're not like a sociopath, if you're like a loyal, good person, then you feel protective, you feel generous towards the people that you have, relationships with, like people that you train with, of course, like they're your boys or girl, whatever, okay? Those are your people. And so you're going to take care of them, obviously. And simultaneously, you don't care that much about some person whose, soul you're going to crush because you don't know them. You don't know them, right? Which is why if you expand that to the human race, you go, wait, so what are we doing? You're like drone strikes in, Syria? It's like, man, you read a story about like a family that got hit with an errant drone missile. And it's like, yeah, so, this is a true story from Afghanistan. It's like, yeah, the dad actually was a scientist working for the United States. And as he was getting out of his car, his little kids came running out to greet him and an errant missile just blew up him, his family, and like just the mom and the sister watched the rest of the family get blown up by a missile. And you're like, damn, that's sad. And then you move on to the next thing and you forget about it. Maybe you forward it to like one person. You're all, man, this is messed up. But most of the time you read utter horror and you just go on to the next thing. Because why? Because they're not your people. You don't know them. You don't know them. So you don't really care. Okay? And I'm not saying that like to be like some kind of like demented sadist. It's just human nature. If we could all get ourselves to care as much about the people we don't know as the people that we do, basically every problem that we have on earth would end, right? The only reason that we are able to do the things in war that we do is because of that, unless people are psychopaths. A regular person would not be okay with dropping, with napalming an entire city if we had any connection to the people there. But it's like, you don't know them. So it's like, I don't know them, man. Wait, you said that they're enemies of ours? Like, yeah, man, they're enemies of ours. You're all, why? They're all, well, some other guys, that live in the same general area, drop some bombs on some boats down in Hawaii, which is kind of, it's not like that's us. They drop bombs on us. You're all, how many? They're all, I don't know. It's a couple, a few hundred planes. You're all, few hundred planes, and each one with each pilot. You're all, yeah. You're all, and so we dropped napalm fireballs on their entire city. Yeah, it really did them wrong, man. Burned down the whole city. You're like, how many people did we kill in Tokyo? They're all about 120,000. You're all 120,000. Yeah. Soldiers? No. Their cities are made of wood, so we just basically burned up everyone. You're all. So like families, women, and children? I mean, let's not get in the weeds about it, but yeah, pretty much women and children. Yeah, women and children. That's what we did. You're all, wait, we did that. Why? They're all, because they hit a military target. They hit our Pacific Fleet. You're all, so we killed all their women and kids. Yeah. That's actually just one city. We've actually done it to about 35 of their cities. Help me make sense of what you're saying. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things that like you know about and you still kind of can't, you know, you're like, I mean, sounds really messed up, but you know, I mean, I don't know them, so I don't know them. That's why my other channel getting deleted is an absolute travesty, because this is what I get to talk about over there. But exclusive on Gumble, I'm going to be posting over there. So, yeah, soul crushing, utterly soul crushing. Maybe what I'm going to do is I'm just going to I'm going to post over there and then I'm going to start a podcast. Actually, that's exactly what I'm going to do. That is going to become a podcast, and I will promote it here. And if you want to listen to my podcast where I get to talk about actually important things like that, then you can, you know. I'll figure out ways to plug them into MMA stories, and then I'll go, and by the way, I have a podcast called Something That Actually Matters, and I talk about it from time to time. Anyway, so, yeah, I have no solutions. Humans are whatever. That's what I got. Peace.